Have you ever stopped to think about what really shapes your decisions? I mean, really? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible architecture of our world, the powerful, hidden forces that guide your every move, even when you think you're totally in control.
So let's jump right in with a little puzzle. A simple question that honestly reveals something incredibly profound about the hidden rules we all live by.
No, seriously, think about it for a second. The streets are completely empty. There's zero risk of a crash, not a cop car for miles. And yet, most of us would just sit there waiting for that light to turn green. Why? Well, that simple act points to these powerful, unwritten rules that are always guiding our behavior, even when we are completely and totally alone.
Okay, so where in the world do these powerful, invisible rules come from? To figure that out, we've got to meet the original architect of our social blueprint.
This guy right here is Émile Durkheim. He was a pioneering French thinker who wanted to do something that was pretty revolutionary for his time. He wanted to scientifically understand how society actually holds itself together. He wasn't interested in just, opinions or philosophy. He wanted to find the data, the structure, the actual mechanics of our social world. So Durkheim's investigation led him to identify two key concepts that act as the fundamental building blocks of our social world. And this right here is where we get to the absolute core of his genius.
First, he argued that society isn't just a giant collection of individuals. He called it a sui generis reality, which is just a fancy Latin term that means of its own kind. Basically, it's a whole new thing that emerges from our interactions, with its own properties and, in a way, its own life.
Think of it like chemistry. You've got hydrogen, which is an explosive gas. You've got oxygen, which literally fuels fire. But you put them together and you get H2O, liquid water, something with a totally new property, wetness. Durkheim says society works the exact same way. It develops qualities that none of us could ever possess on our own.
And these unique qualities that pop up out of society, that's what Durkheim called social facts. This is his first massive building block.
So a social fact is any rule or norm or social structure that exists outside of you but puts a force on you. Think about things like laws, language, fashion, even money. No single person invented them, right? But they shape and constrain our lives every single day. That red light at 3 a.m.? Yep, that's a social fact in action.
The second building block is the collective consciousness. You can think of this as the giant ocean of shared beliefs, morals, and attitudes that binds us all together. It's that common understanding that creates a society's moral glue, telling us what's right, what's wrong, and who we are as a group.
But here is the really fascinating part. Durkheim realized this social glue isn't just one thing. It completely changes as societies grow and get way more complex. He pointed out two kinds of social cohesion. On one hand, you've got mechanical solidarity, which you'd find in traditional societies. Think of a small village where everybody does pretty much the same work and shares the exact same beliefs. They're held together by their sameness. But in our modern world, we have organic solidarity. We're all super specialized. We're doctors, engineers, artists, farmers. We're held together not by being the same, but because we profoundly depend on each other's different skill.
Okay, so this might sound a little abstract, right? But how does it build the actual world that you live in every single day? Because this isn't just a theory. These are the invisible walls and pathways that are defining your life right now.
Well, these big ideas become very real and incredibly powerful through the major institutions that organize our society. You can think of these as the factories that produce and reinforce all those social facts we were talking about.
The legal system is the most obvious one, right? It's a formal set of social facts that enforces our collective rules on everything from traffic lights to taxes. It exists way beyond any one of us, but it absolutely directs our behavior.
And then there's the family. That's where it all starts. It's our first little boot camp for society, where we learn the fundamental norms and moral expectations of our culture long before we can even read. This is where that collective consciousness really starts to take root in us.
And after family, schools take over. For Durkheim, the education system is basically a machine designed to forge a collective identity. It works to imprint shared values and a common history onto every new generation to make sure society keeps on going.
So what's the ultimate takeaway here? When you see society through Durkheim's eyes, what does this bigger picture really show us about ourselves? This quote from the man himself just captures his central idea perfectly. We, as individuals, create society through all our little actions and interactions. But then, and this is the amazing part, that very society we created turns around and exerts a powerful, coercive force back on us, shaping how we think and what we do.
And this is where the power lies for you. When you can actually see this invisible blueprint, you gain this incredible ability to understand the world differently. You can decode everything from your daily habits to your deepest beliefs. You start to realize you're not just an isolated atom, but a critical part of this vast, powerful, interconnected system.